It's not amazing against the clockwork, right? Like a lot of your spells can be interrupted. The rolling boulder feels a lot less effective if you're just timing the usages of your walrus punch and the snowball. Again, it ruins a lot of his mobility.
Mm.
So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this.
I I think their big issue was the Snapfire Mortimer Kisses, and now the Earth Spirit should be able to address that. Because I feel like the
Yes,
Pugna
but
pick.
why Pugna?
So
You
yeah,
know?
that's the Pugnan's interesting, and because I was looking at like, all right, Pugna can always die this game to Mortimer Kisses. It doesn't matter what. You can't use Decrep on yourself. You will die. But now in the fights, you have an answer in regards to the Earth Spirits, where it's going to be a little bit nice. My issue for Army Genius is the only damage you do is pretty much magic. Like, yes, Ember's a little bit of physical, but it's predominantly magic damage, which is a big concern because we've seen Tino really like these aura builders. He likes to build pipe. You can definitely go live solo if you want to as well, or someone that's going to build BKB incredibly early on.
Yeah, I wonder what avenue he does go down. Whether it's, I mean, is Enigma banned out? Not just yet. Just a Shadow Fiend again, something that's going to be able to do. You would assume a pretty decent job in the laning stage. Pogna doesn't really do too much against it. I'm assuming this is a one Shadow Fiend, by the way, and it kind of fulfills that similar role to the sniper when you play it as a position one. You've got a melee position four, and it really feels like they can't come forward to harass at all because one, you're most likely going to be pairing this together with, I would assume, a clockwork. So melee into a clockwork feels rough, and then you've got a shadow fiend bopping you from afar. So I'd say Execration are very happy with how this one's turned out so far. They've got a lot of physical damage coming through, as well as the magic damage spread now with the shadow fiend. They've got tower taking potential. They've got Roche potential. I like Execration's draft.
Is there a carry that you feel like could maybe flip it a little bit here for In Your Dream? Because we are looking for that position one at the 23rd.
They need a lot of physical. Maybe a Terrorblade wouldn't be too bad. I think that's going to be a pretty decent response just because, you're going up against Clockwork, not a lot of AoE, Tusk, not a ton of AoE, and mostly physical. Really only Snapfire that you need to deal with, and you've got the Ember Spirit to be able to interrupt Mortimer's Kisses. And then, again, physical up against this potential minus armor draft. It feels like it's going to be pretty solid against the Shadow Fiend.
5 seconds remaining.
Have some issues with also pushing out the waves on Execration regards to the Tusk and the Clockwork. Depends if the Tusk is a core or not. Your levels can make it a little bit easier, but still addressing the illusions could be a bit annoying.
I still think it's probably going to be a Tusk mid. I know Snapfire mid, again, feels nice against the Ember Spirit, but Tusk feels pretty good too. And I'm just thinking as well, like, do you really want a Snapfire to be just completely nullified by an Ember Spirit if it's being played as a core? You'd much rather have that factor as a support where you're having to commit so much for that. They're actually going to be the ones to ban out the Nature's Prophet. Okay. Just wanting to stay from range. I mean, they don't have amazing push on Army Geniuses right now. Maybe that's the reason behind picking the Pugna, is that it's one of those ones that they actually do like to play. Tino is much more of the traditional pushing style of offlaner with your Enigma, your Visage, those sorts of things. Could they even look to go into the Magnus as well for Tino here with his last pick? I really wouldn't hate it. The lanes should be fine. Again, you're buffing up a lot of physical damage cores in the Tusk and the Shadow Fiend, who then have crit to go on top of that, but probably not going to be the case up against a Monkey King. So now does this switch things? Now do you go mid Snapfire? Now do you actually have a Tusk as a position 4 or a Clockwork, and then have a ranged position 3 like... not a great Visage game. That's it's not banned out, but 4 of these heroes have good little bits of damage over time that Tino will not be having too good job against. All right, we said we might see a Viper today, and I said I'm okay with an offlane Viper. Is it a mid Viper? Could we see a 3 Tusk maybe? No, mid Snap. So yep, offlane Viper for Tino. I really don't hate this.
Do you think he can go pipe on the Viper?
The Piper?
Yes, the Piper. I know because we were speaking about it just before we went live, kind of saying that hopefully we weren't going to get a Viper, though we might, just to address the Death Prophet.
I don't mind the Viper.
Yes.
I don't mind the Viper.
Yes. I was going to then say that you said you don't mind the Viper if it's kind of played with this turret build. So I know you really prefer that build. Can Tino go like Dragonlance pipe into the turret build? Like, can he fit a pipe anywhere in there? Because again, like Army Geniuses, the Monkey King's going to take a little bit to come online. Before that, it is a lot of magic damage.
I don't necessarily think he needs to, right?
Okay.
I think you've got three heroes that like building BKB quite a lot. Palos, if he's able to use the Requiem uninhibited without taking a lot of that Netherward damage, he's going to be happy. If you're able to just standard fight against a Monkey King, it's pretty happy. Viper, again, turret build. What enables you to do that? Not getting locked down by spells. So BKB buyer, and Snapfire likes to build the BKB too, probably like third item, so late-ish maybe. But again, you've got two supports that are going to be able to cover your tracks there. So
Okay.
I'm preferring Execration's draft.
Yeah, I giving them a slight advantage. My concern is just that I think Army Geniuses do have the potential to one start with the tri lane if they want to, with the Earth Spirit, of course, in the safe lane, and also potentially rotate CML very early on. The only issue with doing that is you leave a Pugna into a Clockwork and Shadowfiend lane. And I think he can very be vulnerable for a long period of time. I think you can only do it really quick and then hopefully bring a rotation back. So if they want to try and enable potentially the Monkey King to, because again, the Viper, like you really, really rely on dominating the lane. So maybe we can see just the Earth Spirit sack the Pugna a little bit, help out that safe lane, and then they can get, the Pugna caught back up later on.
It's not like Execration don't have the potential for that same tri lane though, right? Clockwork, Viper, Tusk seems pretty damn devastating if you ask me. So we might see a little bit of musical lanes going on super early just to see who can get that quick first blood and get themselves off to a good start in this game.
That's really the question. Who's able to find that kind of solid footing to start game one?
It's going to be in both teams' mind, right?
Yeah.
After what happened yesterday. Obviously, Execration, they were much more convincing with their early game. Army Genius is absolutely not. So they just want to put themselves on the front foot to be able to begin this one. And I actually quite like this Observer Ward. It scouts out a lot of these early rotations.
Might be caught out early on. Shanks and Carlo with a lot of slows to hold down the Crystal Maiden, but we'll just be able to get back onto the town. Now, Carlo takes a lot of damage as well with this deep attempt, and Yowei snags first blood with a slight. Off to a great start they are here. Army Geniuses already is continuing to push Shanks away. In Your Dream didn't level anything up, and it wasn't required as Army Geniuses start off strong.
Yeah, Bob didn't do it either. Was just thinking maybe he's going to help to try and clip them with the tip of that Scatterblast just to provide that little bit of an extra slow, but this is one of the disadvantages of the Viper, right? It's why I think you need to play that turret build, because he was miles behind the Clockwork and the Tusk just with their base movement speed and being able to get out and try and go for that first blood. And, well, they might end up costing themselves another little bit with the rotation coming through here. But it looks like they'll be able to back off in time. So I'm going to get you to do the numbers here of how many runes were secured. Was it 3? No, 2 for 2. Those colors, man. They're putting me off.
I get it. Colors can be difficult for some. So
Tri lane.
Highlight King. Okay.
Gotta make the big plays. That's what these saying, basically. All right. Will they get a kill in this bottom lane? Yes or no? Call it. And do you think it's actually worth it now that first blood is
No, they won't.
not on the cards? Yeah. Yeah, good job, bro. You did it.
Thank you, man. So, interesting. Tino's actually going to start with the Nether Toxin. So, just looking to try and shove the lane out, get faster.
I think he was just trying to get that first blood, to be honest. Like, that was the only reason for it. He just couldn't get in range for his right clicks because he was so far behind. Slow as hell, Viper. 275 movement speed.
Oh, at the attempt onto the tower? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, he tossed it underneath the tower while CM was running away.
On top lane, Palos might end up going down. DV stands strong. The high armor stats for the Pugna helps out with that man fight, and Army Geniuses, they'll come out on the top in the trade.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the stats that he's been able to buy up already on the Pugna. 2 circlets, full magic wands, so no surprise really that he's just able to stand against the Shadow Fiend. Oh, really nicely done, cancelling the salve as well on Carlo, so CML once again putting in a solid performance early.
No.
You have to wonder, like, Bob is probably the one most frustrated with that first blood being given up, right? And of course, he obviously wants to be the one to pick it up most of the time, but this is a lane that you picked specifically because you have that advantage. And now you've enabled Joey to get the first blood, get a little bit of a net worth lead over the Snapfire, and maybe just make his game that much better. You can see he's already got the bottle, where he might not normally. He's going to be able to secure the water in for himself, and with the lane pushing under his tower, he's just fine to pick up those early levels and get the farm on the board.
Can you talk to us a little bit about this advantage that the Snapfire has over the Ember Spirit? Or why is he kind of favored in this matchup?
I mean, it's just simple stuff, like it's a solid ranged hero. They've got a lot of burst damage. You're able to break through the Flame Guard. Decent amount of magic damage as well against an agility hero like that Ember Spirit. So there's lots of different reasons. And as well, once you get onto the level 6, you're able to go for a little bit more of that physical style where you get aggressive, you use the Mortimer's Kisses, where Ember Spirit, because you've won the lane, doesn't have his level 6, and you could sometimes get that solo kill.
Well, we'll see if Bobby's going to be able to find those kills or not. Like you said, though, a little bit unfortunate that he's playing into this first blood advantage, but regardless, top of the last hits here for the Snapfire, and I think with both our side lanes, we really need to keep our attention on them, considering how many kills can potentially come out. Are there any little timings that we could be...
Pump's going for it again. He's been pump faking the Scatter Blast just to try and make Yoe's life a little bit more difficult. Sorry that interrupted a kill onto Shex, but, you know, anytime Bob goes for a dive near a tier 1 tower, I'm always going to call it out.
Orb Corrosion picked up early from In Your Dream, and all they needed was that and the slows from the Crystal Maiden as well to help secure the kills. So really nice. It honestly looks like In Your Dream's getting a lot more out of this bottom lane than I was expecting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they were able to avoid that initial tri-lane because of the first blood. If you're able to get on top of someone like the Viper, it makes his life a little bit more difficult. And of course, Crystal Maiden, Varese is not worried about his own net worth at all. Holding onto 6 mangoes right now, just shoving out the lane, using his spells as much as possible onto Tino, so that he's not picking up his last hits.
Carlo with the backstab. CML going to be able to connect, but a really good placement of the cogs will allow Carlo to turn away and get back to the tower. Meanwhile, Palace is getting a lot of free last hits uncontested under the tower. Back to bottom we go. Shanks in some trouble is In Your Dream. Lands the Boundless Strike onto 2. That's going to be enabling him to play with the Jingus now, and even Varish will be able to step in as well. Tino stopping the stacks from forming once again, but it will not matter. As across the map we go. Another kill. Who was this? It looks like Palace got the kill into CML.
Yes, he did. And, well, very important kill for him to be able to pick up, right? The lane not going as well for Palace, giving up that early kill when he went for the early advantage onto DB. Wonder if they're going to look to go here onto the Pugna with Carlo. Freshly picked up level 3. He's got the mangoes to be able to make this play, but he's going to do it shortly. The creep wave is going to come and disrupt the effect of that battery assault, and doesn't look like he'll be able to. I see him coming, though. Oh, maybe.
See, DB, what can you do against this? Cog's going to put Palace on the other side. DB's going to try and play on top of the creep wave. CML needs to disrupt the damage from Palace and will not be able to do so.
I think... Was that a... Did CML TP mid and refill Yoe's bottle? Because I thought it was quite some time before he was able to actually get back to that lane.
Yes, I believe so.
That's the thing. You were mentioning before, the risk if they use this Earth Spirit to be able to make a few more rotations, try and get a kill onto the Snapfire, then it just leaves the Pugna up on his own. Didn't even try for the kill there. It was just, again, making sure that the lane was okay for Ember Spirit, and, well, the lane is going quite well for him. He's 500 gold ahead, but results in a death in the Snapfire, the Pugna. You're never too happy about that. He is still the one that you need to be doing the majority of your pushing.
And I think for Execration, they cannot be happy about how this bottom lane is going. We'll actually hold that because we're probably going to have some rotations come out. It looks like both sides are bringing all their supports. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get the double damage rune as Bob needs to get the cookie up to the higher ground. Shanks will hold the Ember back as well.
Ember's not 6 yet.
So can't close the distance. Bob's going to turn around with a Mortimer Kiss as Yoe trying to find that last little bit of damage out of the slide. And he will be able to do so, but it's going to cost him his own life, potentially. Oh, no, Yoe! Oh, no. Didn't make it down. Gives them my bad voice line because of it.
Oh, he just used another remnant for some reason. He was completely out of there. Also covered by CML for the escape, but, well, a little bit disappointing for him, sure. And it was a really nice turnaround by Bob there, recognizing again the power of that level 6 when the Ember Spirit doesn't have it available.
So that's now 80 seconds without the Mortimer Kisses, which often is a Very good way to be able to pick up your kills across the map. So we'll see if they're going to be able to do anything on Armor Geniuses. At the moment, they are setting up with CML down bottom. I believe they did scout up the Earth Spirit here with that lane ward. I think they just clipped him. They're still going to make the attempt though. Diving deep under the tower. The kick back into the Wukong's command. They line up once again for a double boundless strike as the shards allows Tino to get some distance away. And they're fighting on top of the Nether Toxin as well. And even though it was only level 1, it enables Execration to find the kill in return. But they've still got to be cautious though. Army Geniuses hanging nearby. Varish off to the left side in your dream into the tree line as well. Just hoping that Execration step a little bit too far forward. But they are wary of this attempt.
Oh yeah, there's no way he takes another step forward without the Monkey King revealing on the lane, considering what CM just tried to do. A CM does not do that dive solo next to a tier 1 tower unless you're very secure about potentially getting a kill. But now, Tino, he's got the lane, farming, pushing next to his tower. He'll be able to pick up that farm. Again, all the Viper needs early on are those levels. He's got a few of those Wraith Bands just to make sure he's got the early armor going up against this the Monkey King, plus the Ember Spirit as well. But now I really want to see him transition into the Dragonlance and then straight into that BKB afterwards.
Would you like to see them even make some stacks for Mr. Palos to try and further enable that, or is that maybe not required of them?
I mean, any chance that you get, of course, is you take the opportunity. I think it's just much more important to secure the Snapfire's lane in this mid lane, because I'm sure Bob's a little bit disappointed with the performance that he's put on so far. 1-1-1, but behind in net worth, and it really feels like he needs to get a lot more active going into the early Aghanim Scepter on the Snap. I like it.
Carlo once again with the cogs being such a nuisance, and what a great positioning. That was the only entrance point they had. So they have to run further over around the tree line, but it means that Carlo can get out, and now Palace has also been able to retreat back to the tower. So Execration, this will give them a lot of time to be able to react to this, whether they want to defend the tower or get Palace out of danger. In fact, they're going to go deeper in the jungle. Yoey and CML onto Carlo. He's going to look to try and TP out in their face, and they won't have the stuns nor the damage to cancel that.
Very, very nicely done.
Now look at bottom lane.
Well.
In your dream, they've got the ward to be able to snowball over the tree line. Mortimer kisses for good measure. A really big kill for Execration of Fine, considering how poorly this bottom lane had gone.
Yeah, and it also clears out the full wave as well on Bob. Means that they're able to get a little bit of damage into this tower. Palace has been allowed to just stand up here solo for far too long, and they should probably know that at least one of these supports isn't able to help him, and it's actually both that can't, so this should be a free kill.
Looks like Palace a little bit greedy, trying to shove that last lane in. We saw him do it before. They got the kill down bottom onto the Monkey King. Just spammed out the wave with the razors. Thought he could do it again, and Army Geniuses make sure that's not the case. So now with that kill, it's going to completely open up the tower. They've got 4 points in the Nether Blast, so they'll be the first ones to get the tier 1 across the map.
I actually quite liked his staying in that top lane previously, but then, yeah, again, once you use Clockwork and the Tusk TPs, and you know that there's no saving you, you gotta just get the hell out of there. Go back to the safety of your jungle. You might not farm quite as quickly, and you might still lose the tower, but you just, at the end of the day, gave up your life and the tower, which we know Shadow Fiends can't afford to do.
No. Both sides does look like it's going to be able to trade in regards to the objectives, so going to be looking towards maybe just farming up a little bit, getting closer to the ultimates. Carlo, not 6 just yet, nor with CML. So once the supports are able to find an extra ability to work with, do we expect a smoke out of both sides?
Possibly. I mean, Varese is just hanging down here watching Tino the whole time, basically. He's wanting to maybe catch him on the retreat, see if he can... is he going to place an Observer Ward in the lane just to see if he can catch him as he tries to TP away and then get an outnumber? Seems like he's content enough just to stay down in these trees. He'll actually dodge out that Observer Ward as well, so they still don't know where this pesky CM is.
It's at their own jungle, however, CML. First use of the Magnetize of the game. Shank's going to try and play with the shards. Really ambitious TP.
I mean, this is just an indication to make a play now, right? You know that the Tusk TP isn't available. Maybe you push mid. Maybe you look to address this a little bit more. CM just dealing with this bottom lane for now. And then they're going to make a bit more of an aggressive movement happen with that Magnetize. Not quite available, but plenty of damage from the rest of the cores.
Does look like both offline is holding off to a decent chunk of gold. In fact, just taking a look now, Tino, he's gone into the mechanism on the Viper. Very interesting choice. Are we expecting Execration maybe to look to 5-man once Palos gets BKB? Because he definitely can't beforehand.
I guess the other thing is that there's no real natural healing reduction, right? Pipe's always good, but it's just a little bit more expensive, right? But Mech, as long as there's no healing reduction, you're always going to get maximum value out of the healing.
Look at the smoke. Army Geniuses once again looking to invade the jungle, but Carlo's out with the hook shot. And they're actually starting to pivot their attention over. Bob and Shanks in combination, looking to try and catch out anyone with their pants down, and that's going to be the Crystal Maiden. Bob's able to line up a beautiful cookie onto two. They still have to be really cautious about taking this fight into Yoe's double damage rune, so Bob's going to play off to the right side and use the Mortimer Kisses from afar, but even In Your Dream wants to get involved as well. A Boundless Strike, cutting off the life of Carlo, and now they can back off into the river as Army Geniuses. A successful invasion, and they find two.
They do indeed. I was thinking that I was actually set up really well for Execration. You know, they had the Clockwork be able to get back to safety. You actually had kicked Bob away, so he had plenty of space to be able to get off that Mortimer's Kisses onto the Earth Spirit. No way to be able to cancel it, but their damage is just really starting to ramp up now on AG. They've got that, of course, Echo Saber, the Orb of Corrosion, buffing up what Yoe's Ember Spirit's able to do, and he's even got enough money to buy the Mithril Hammer now, so that damage is just going to be even more of a factor if Execration don't take a few of these towers and limit what they're able to farm.
Do kind of start to see the little poke that DB can do in Execration. They want to put that to a stop, and 3-man smoke from them, but where are they directing their forces? Tino mid lane might be in trouble. Cookie to reposition, and now Execration will be forced to kind of come towards this area.
A bit of a backstab, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see if they can work out for them. Carlo's going to start. But maybe trying to secure the power rune. Unfortunately, it will be top, so they won't get anything out of this.
My real question is, does Palos feel confident enough to be able to TP and influence this mid-fight? They've just been able to use DB from afar with that Aether Lens to say, you know what, Nether Blast is going to be good enough. Don't need anyone to right-click the tower. As long as I've got all my boys behind me, they're going to be just fine. Just 500 gold away from Bob, having his Aghanim Scepter though, so I wonder if he's going to consider tossing in at this stage. I feel like Palos is a great option once he has that
bottom lane
available. Speaking of him.
Yeah, they cancel the TP on Palos, who is in trouble. Tries to charge up the Requiem. They're going to be forced to stand their ground and fight as Palos gets the kill onto one. Can they get any more out of this though? Doesn't look like it's the case. Freezing Field, lay it down for Rish. Even In Your Dream, once again, getting incredibly active in the early game on the Monkey King, so he'll be rewarded.
Nice little turnaround there. Though the Requiem was good for the escape potential, but I'm just a little bit worried that you're falling too far behind on this Shadow Fiend. What I was saying before is with the Aghanim Scepter on Bob, I want to see him throw in Shadow Fiend with the BKB, get the stun, get the Requiem off, and use that to start the team fight. Push them a little bit further back towards Execration, if possible. But, you know, if SF keeps dying, this is his third death of the game, just 15 minutes in, and you should be top of the net worth right now, but now it's In Your Dream.
Yeah, In Your Dream, thanks to the maxed out Primal Spring, is still able to keep up with his farm, even though he's kind of gone for this more, I guess, fighting build, Echo, BKB. So he's going to be able to match his BKB timing coming out shortly, which is incredibly important because Execration as well through a lot of the early game fights, it's Mortimer Kisses into the Viper damage as well. So we're going to have some really big team fights break out shortly.
We will indeed. We will indeed. I'm wondering if...
Oh, in the river?
We're able to secure it. Will Bob go for
they're going to hook shot in. Carlo. Easy kill onto one. Can they get more out of this though? Yo, we're kind of baiting his life. The Glob's pushed on forward, but they're not going to be able to cut down. In Your Dream inside the Wukongs has firm control of this team fight as Execration just spit 2 members into their own grave.
I mean, that would have been very different. He was just able to catch the tree, right? But just a little bit off the mark, wanting to catch those TPs coming in. They didn't really have the vision, so Bob was playing blind there, but yeah, just couple of inches really does mean the difference when it comes to these team fights, right? Against two teams that are pretty damn evenly matched.
Yeah, that they are. And we just saw Bob use that haste, and they scouted out DB in the bottom lane, tried to connect, but DB was able to TP out, and he even TP'd to the T2 tower, so he's still playing around bottom. And for this Pugna, you're doing pretty good to keep up in farm. Actually just overtook the Snapfire in regards to the net worth, and DB's going to be going to the Aghanim Scepter, Danog. So what do we make of this?
TP Aghanim Scepter, huh? Have they changed it recently?
They have. I'm reading it now. Apparently reduces spell damage per second. DB? Hookshot's going to be forced to kind of cancel. Not really Bob can... You can't do much here, is it? Carlo's just going to end up going down. It'll make him work for it.
When did they make that change? I
don't
swear I've
remember.
never seen this before. Alright. Well, increase in Pugna's spell damage is always going to be a nice little bonus coming through. I really want to see him, after he picks that up, go straight into the Dagon just for that 100-0 potential coming through. It could be interesting. I mean, there's no one really that I would say he's going to be able to get right on top of that. You know, getting rid of their spell damage is massively influential. I think it's going to be a tough ask for a Pugna to find a Snapfire. But, you know, see offlaners and their Pugna. You got to trust them.
Dire's top tower
In
is
particular,
under
those
attack.
Indonesian boys. They know something scary about this mid lane. A nice start. Look how they're trying to kite the fight at the moment. Not heavily committing as Palace uses a Requiem to the Mortimer Kisses. It's a decent chunk of damage. They get the one kill, but... are they happy with this? Bob's going to try and chuck in the clockwork. Oh, beautiful placement. Unable to cut down the tree, though, so in your dream. He can protect himself with the BKB, turns around. There's a difficult fight to take now for Execration, but they still will be able to get the Monkey King before they get value out of the Wukongs. Can they get anything more out of this, though?
Last remnant.
Oh, wait. He'll be able to walk up and TP out, so... Man, that spit looked good, and the turnaround potential for the Wukongs, but he just didn't have enough health to stand his ground.
Yeah, but it's one of the few mistakes that we've seen in this game from Carlo, right? He had the potential for that hook shot onto 2 after the Cogs pushback, just to enable Palace to completely burst them down. Probably would have been able to claim the Ember Spirit's life as well, but still, Yoe able to get away. Big turnaround though, and we can see Palace, he's recovered. He's been able to pick up that BKB. The thing I'm most confused about, am I taking crazy pills? What's with these Viper builds lately, man? This is kind of what we saw from the Morphling yesterday, where it went 4 defensive items, and it's like, well, where's the damage going to come from? What's the purpose of this? He's maxed out the corrosive skin, as opposed to any kind of damage potential, and then going mech, 4-staff into a Lotus Orb. I want to see something that enables you to right-click,
Radiant's
surely.
top tower is under attack.
Good. Oh, yo, wait. Not going to be easy. He's got the ward to see Carlo. Might not see Shanks, though. So he's going to be able to TP out. I wonder if they feel like late game Shadow Fiend is going to be enough. I mean, he's farming at an incredible rate. And Tino, I will say, as he's in trouble at the moment. And we're going to see not much that he can do to protect himself. Force a mech. He will still go down nonetheless. Gonna try and play with the gobble up. They get the hook shot as well. Could be decent, but the Cogs push back. The damage needs to come through from Palace, but it's not fast enough. Still, the cookie flies on into the river. They're able to finally bring down the Ember Spirit. But look at the turnaround. CML, but the roll in. The backstab was perfect. Another use of the roll, but Palace, fast on the fingers, playing with the BKB, but in your dreams got his own as well. So the Mortimer Kiss is completely nullified, as now they'll turn to Bob. A leap down for the tree line means a Snapfire won't get enough distance away, as CML even kicks you back into the grasping hands of Army Geniuses.
Oh man, so many big plays, but these tiny mistakes as well. Palace using the Mask of Madness immediately after that BKB. I would have thought he could just use that BKB on the high ground, instant Requiem, force them to either make a commitment or back off completely, but instead it just means that he has to run away for the majority of his BKB without any output, and well, Bob ends up dying for the cause.
Is under attack.
So I do really want to go back on this Viper point, because I think it is going to be really important as the late game goes on. As
Or they just smoked under a ward as well.
wonder what the call is going to be for Army Genius. You got 2 heroes showing top.
Radiant are
Rish might just pop this
He's just
and...
popping it. Yeah.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
There you go. So he's going to end up going down as Tino gets a kill. So, Tino so far through the Pro Series has really liked a lot of his aura building heroes
Dire's
as
top
Carlo.
tower is under attack.
Flare on 5. Go for the random hook. Not the case. Tino's really liked a lot of his aura builders. So I'm not quite surprised he's going for this. I don't know how much value it's gonna get out of it, because we've, again, not really seen a lot of success out of the Viper, and kind of when it looks at it best is when you do go for that turret build. So I'm quite intrigued on if the kind of sustain is going to be enough for Palace to do a lot of damage in the fights. Bob? Oh, he tried to get the double damage rune, and great positioning from Army Geniuses.
Yeah, I don't mind the aura build when you've got heroes that can actually still do things. You know, despite the fact that they've gone for an aura build, they're going to find another kill as well on Army Geniuses. This is the team that we had seen have so much success for the majority of the group stage, and
They're not
all
done.
up until that upper bracket.
Didn't get lucky still. Maybe it's CML. Slightly off the mark with the roll. Oh, he's even got a remnant on over. Chains up in a couple of seconds. Are they going to go for this? All right.
Instantly with a voice slap as soon as he misses out on it. They still do have this top lane pushing in though, and DB, you know, the medic Pugner coming through even from the off lane as they're going to look to take control over the Execration jungle. Good timing as well. Once you've got that Aghanim Scepter, once you're able to set up around that Roche pit, might be a good time to be able to take a fight.
Do you see CML's item build? Rush of the pipe.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Okay. Don't hate it. Maybe he was... Oh.
It's getting our Tino kickback once again inside the Wukong's command. Beautiful plays from the boys on Army Geniuses, and the shards, they can't get anything out of it. I mean, how are you even going to go on the Earth Spirit? Doesn't matter about the Wukongs. This guy with the pipe and all the strength gain that he has is not easy to kill.
No, definitely not. You know, I always talk about that underrated aspect of the Pipe of Insight is the 30% magic resist that it provides, and he's going to need all of it.
He will now. Not enough, unfortunately. Some Mortimer Kiss is used. They do also block off Farish for the moment, force stuff down into the TP out. Are we going to see a lack of damage potentially be an issue for Execration? Because it looks like the read from Radiant going for the Scepter on DB to minimize some of the spell damage and the pipe early on from the Earth Spirit means that they feel like a lot of the damage from Execration is going to be magical.
If they think that, what I want to see from Execration is just a switch up, right? You've got a Tusk, you've got Tag Team maxed out, you've got Walrus Punch, you've got Shadow Fiend with a lot of that physical damage amplification, who's also going a very physical damage oriented build. So I think Tino can honestly get away with going down that same sort of route.
Bob, top lane is not in a great position at all. In fact, Army Genius is going to look to smoke into Execration's jungle instead of connecting to top. So they will be able to run into the Clockwork. Easy kill potentially. Carlo with a hookshot out. So back to top we go as CML look to connect to In Your Dream. So they're still able to get the kill. And now Yoe remnants on aggressively. So Army Geniuses, the past 5 minutes are just completely taking over this map. Nowhere is safe, it looks like, for Execration.
Radiant's bottom
And even the
tower
vision
is under
doesn't seem
attack.
too great for Execration, right? They've got one out in the one ward out in the top lane, but doesn't provide too much value considering you don't have a tier 1 tower to TP2. One is a good one, protecting Palace's farm, but right now it really feels like Palace is having to be the one-man army eventually. And what are they going to give up in the meantime? For now, it's going to be Roche, and they've already given up a tier 2 tower as well as their jungle. So he's going to need to start making an influence as soon as that next item comes out. It was going to be the Silver Edge, but he's gone into the Hurricane Pike now. He needs to make sure that he's, again, physical damage. They don't have too much that negates that right now on Army Geniuses. Outside of the Decrepify,
Bottom lane, Palos.
potentially see the Wukongs.
Oh, he's going to go for the Requiem, but it wasn't the max amount of damage required onto Yoe. Very close, however.
Still has the BKB and still has the TP, so he's going to stick down here. They don't have anything that's going to be able to stop him from getting away, and I don't think they have the damage to 100-0 Palace. I don't think they want to be down here as well. They want to be using this Aegis advantage to be able to push in this mid lane, try and force out a glyph from Execration to enable them to go high ground.
Can they brute force this triangle, though?
They should know there's a smoke happening.
They do. Ward on the high ground's going to be able to scout them out. Long roll in. We'll be able to run into
Oh,
Carlo.
nice cut.
Cuts down the tree. Another hookshot from Carlo gets him out. Meanwhile, top lane, though, Bob, he's in trouble again. The rest of the team starting to connect, but they might take too long. With all the members of Army Geniuses surrounding the Snapfire, it's an easy kill, continuing to slow down this Snapfire's progression.
And it really felt like that might have been the fight where Execration wanted to take it. You just had Palos TP back to the base, pick up the Hurricane Pike, so he feels a lot safer around that Wukong's command with all of the armor that In Your Dream's going to have in these team fights. Now you can just look to reposition yourself, force out that early BKB. But with Bob dying, means that you might be lacking a little bit of that damage. You might not force the BKB out.
I'm trying to see what we got coming up next here for Execration. So looks like this deficit's going to continue to grow. With the gameplay that we're seeing from Army Geniuses, they look really crisp with their movements in this game one.
I still feel like they can make this happen, though, on Execration, right? Not just because I predicted them, but also...
Maybe this is the fight.
Maybe it is. A quick pick off onto Maurice would be great.
Yeah, the hook shot to start. Palace in great position to be able to capitalize. Meanwhile, down in the lane. We'll trade a 1-for-1. Execration. Are they still going to stick around? They've got the ward on the high ground to play with. Yoe's actually going to aggressively remnant into the middle, but he's not ready for the stun lock that's going to come out. Protected with the BKB for the moment. Now they've got control with the Wukong command, and Execration need to retreat, and Tino, he won't be able to. A boundless strike to pin him down. His Army Geniuses, they bring everyone there, and as soon as the Wukong is utilized from In Your Dream, it's an easy fight.
So many small things are going wrong for Execration, right? Shank's dying for no real reason on the bottom side. He was trying to farm his Blink Dagger just about 100 gold away. And then he buybacks, and now he's 600 gold away once again. You know, that could have potentially been a big timing. Maybe that was the start to the team fight that you needed so that you're able to land that, plus the Snowball, plus the Gobble Up Spit Out, plus the Requiem, you know, because it does feel like they're lacking that burst, that damage potential at the very start of team fights. Army Geniuses are just able to position themselves perfectly.
Again, someone might be caught out in the side lane. Palace has no BKB. TML, he's got the detection required, so Palace won't be able to escape under the cover of the invis. Silence cuts the Requiem short, hoping for the right-click damage to bring CML down. He will have enough. Now plays with the Requiem, but In Your Dream, well, he's tried to TP in, and finally we'll be able to get the Shadow Fiend back inside the lane. Vrish and DB together is also able to get Shank, so continuing to slow down that blink on the Tusk.
And this is a dieback as well, so maybe they'll feel confident enough to be able to push up onto the high ground, knowing that Shadow Fiend, even if he does have buyback, doesn't want to give up that... well, they might think he's got a lead, they might think that he's neck and neck, and well, they're going to be right with the second, but they want to make sure that he has to give up something to be able to defend this tower. Should be a 4v3 very reliably. All cores available on Army Geniuses. Seems like they just want to push the lanes out for now, though. Might be missing a big opportunity to be able to push in onto that high ground with the remnants of the Aegis on In Your Dream.
35 seconds left of it. It looks like they're just happy with setting DB up, spamming out that Nether Blast from afar thanks to the Octarine cast range. And this tower's taking a bit of a beating here.
I feel like it could have gone down though, right? You had the Wukongs, just layer that down, use that to right-click the tower, Aegis, you don't have any reposition.
What they can do on Execration now, 14,000 deficit. Still without the blink for this fight to break out. They've got the Lotus Orb completed, no BKB onto the Snapfire, so it's unfortunate that their timings aren't coming out as soon as the Aegis expires.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like they're trying to claw to every little bit of net worth that they can. They're going to go for a smoke, trying to hug next to Palos, recognizing the behavior that Army Geniuses exhibited in recent times. As soon as someone shows on this lane, they're going to go for a gank attempt. Will Army Geniuses recognize that, hey, no one's actually showing on Execration, maybe it's a bait?
Yoe is ready to go. Pops the haste from Unstrained to Carlo. An easy kill for them to find, and this is going to give him enough time, however, for Execration to disperse away from the area. Out to the left and out to the right.
Surely. Not again. You cannot be giving up your life once more. I just wait for Ember Spirit to get out of this lane before attempting to go for a push, but no, he's just going to play it safe, get back to the base, doesn't want even more of that unreliable goal being taken away with another death.
Look at the vision. They're able to scout out Execration, move into the triangle. So instantly Army Genius is starting to sweep across the map. They want to make sure that there is nothing free to farm at the moment for Dire.
Yeah. maybe even trying to bait out that use of the BKB. They didn't have the boys, they didn't have the damage to be able to secure the kill yet on Army Geniuses. Still too far on the left side of the map.
Who they're going to try and chuck in. They've got a great ward to play with. They're going to try and target down DB with the artillery raining through, but DB,
Great glimmer.
he's just getting tickled. Instead, they'll go for the easy kill onto the Crystal Maiden, but now, in your dream, a double 4 stuff will keep the Shadow Fiend alive. Tino's actually going to get cookied further into the middle, so the Viper will not be rescued. Of Execration, they've got other issues, and, well, that's going to be Yelway Palace. He's trying to get himself in a position for the Requiem, but the charge up, it's still there fast enough. They'll kill off CML. Potentially, no, the decrypt! Oh, Palace, he didn't even get him! Palace didn't even get the kill, and Army Geniuses are swarming inside their base. Yolway will clean up with the Remnant, in and out he goes, and now their base soon to be pillaged.
Oh man, there was one halberd evasion and one decrep that had allowed him to live. That is just some crazy luck with some crazy skill coming through there. Props to Barise as well, making sure that the Pugna didn't get instantly burst down. Great reaction time using the Glimmer Cave to be able to protect his core.
Can they make this work? Finally, they'll get the Pugna. A big crit out of Palace, but an even bigger Boundless Strike in your dream. Lands onto 3, and now they can look to dive the Shadow Fiend. No buyback out of Palace, and Bob is just trying to duck into the trail and hoping and praying they go for someone else instead, and that'll be the case. Killing off Tino, but the G's being dropped as Army Geniuses. What an incredible Game 1 performance. So crisp.
Very, very crisp. Again, a lot of tiny things that Execration just didn't execute to perfection. I don't think this was a strategy issue, unless you count that Viper item build. I'm still not a fan of this big utility Viper because you do rely so much on your right click to be able to have effectiveness in team fights. It's not like an Enigma where Eidolons do the work. It's not like Visage where Familiars do a lot of the work. You are the hero. So I want to see if Vipers come out, a little bit more of that active style coming through from Execration, but Army Geniuses just picked up on those tiny little errors, those tiny little miscommunications, missed stuns, and use that to swarm over Execration from first blood to the very end.
Which is so goddamn scary because it felt like a lot of the lanes went not how we were expecting. Like you have this. Firstly, Army Genius just used 3 bands to protect the Ember Spirit, and he regardless plays into a matchup that is not Ember favored, but he still was able to have a really good time. Secondly, Execration last picked the Viper, and In Your Dream was top of the net worth. They did not get enough out of that lane at all for what a Viper is meant to do. So that in itself puts your draft in such a bad position. And we've been speaking a lot about the itemization. In fact, we've been praising Execration for their itemization. This game, I think we have to praise Army Geniuses. Like the builds that we saw out of them was very unique, unconventional. The pipe rush from the Earth Spirit, the scepter from the Pugna. We even saw the Bloodthorn come out. So the Mage Slayer mitigation, they just recognize that they're going to try and stop a lot of the damage and put all the pressure onto Palace. And well, he wasn't able to live up to that pressure in this game.
No, he wasn't. And it could have been so different so easily, right? Viper goes physical, then you don't get so much value out of all this magic stuff. Tusk gets into that Blink Dagger. Who knows how that influences fights a little bit more differently. Maybe the Gobble Up Spit gets a few more kills off the back of it, because Bob was really punished by going that instead of being able to pick up that early BKB. He still didn't have it by the end of the game. And I mean, this is what I mean with the Viper, right? Ended the game, second lowest damage on his team, less than 9,000, and it's not even like with his much more defensive build, maxing out the corrosive skin first with the 4 stuff, with the armor, with the Lotus Sword, with the mech. He didn't even soak up a ton of damage either. I think he soaked up actually the least damage of his entire team. So I don't want to blame Tino specifically, but I really feel like teams are trying to make this Viper work in a way that it just doesn't.
Yeah, something's not going too right with this Viper, but hopefully they come with a new strategy into game 2, because Execration down 1 game. But for these boys, though, they have been in back-to-back grand finals in the Pro Series. Pro Series 11 and Pro Series 12, they were in the grand finals. They weren't able to win it, and well, they want to try and change that script. They want to try and get another ticket into the grand finals and potentially turn that around, but being down 1 game puts you in a hell of a position for the script to pay off in the end. But for Army Geniuses, they turn it around from yesterday as well. They had a rough day, but today they come out looking strong. We'll see if they can continue that into game 2.